Years ago, I was treated to something that perfectly epitomized the magic of willed compliance, a combination of irony, patience, and some molasses revenge. I'll put you in the antechamber. I am a construction worker, and I do concrete cutting. To those who don't know me, I work with big diesel and hydraulic saws cutting concrete slabs, chopping, hammering, and pulling up concrete foundations. We don't pour concrete. We're the team that comes in and makes changes or removes it. We are a little company, about 15 guys all together, but we've established ourselves as the concrete cutting pros in the neighborhood. I actually started out as the owner Brad and Cody's very first intern. These two guys are some of the best bosses you'll ever have. They're young. Brad is 25 and Cody is 30, but they're hard workers, smart, and always eager to be on the floor. They aren't manning the watch. They are with us doing more than their share of the work. We got a no-bid position one day in a large manufacturing plant. The task? Scrape off half of an broken concrete slab out in the open. And because the customer didn't need anything in the short period of time, despite our not being the cheapest company around. And they even asked us to take extra tools and specialty saws in case. It was not uncommon. We have a good reputation for being trusted and on time. They were aiming to get the job done in 3 or 4 days. First morning, Brad and Cody came to the plant early to get a mandatory safety meeting at 6:30 a.m., and I stayed to set up the crew. When I got there around 8 a.m., Brad and Cody were still sitting by their trucks waiting. Evidently, the client's project team didn't even show up until 9 a.m. When they finally showed up, the head of the project, a guy named John, gave us a rundown. We were told by John that their managers would come in and visit us throughout the project. We found this strange but didn't think twice. It was a very uneventful first day, even though it was early. We had done about a third of the work by the end of the day, a good start. But here was the twist. We were all watched by a crowd of about 25 or so, almost like we were part of a theater. It got so ridiculous we joked about putting bleachers out for them. Adding insult to injury, the plant closed work at 4 p.m. on all days. On the following morning, which was supposed to be our last day, Brad got an email from John. The message in the email said, "We know your company is well managed by its machines, but work is too fast. We want you to get it under control, so our managers will feel at home." Brad was furious. We were hired for that speed, that efficiency, and now you're saying go slow? This email was basically trying to make us play it small for their crazy wants. Brad was between in fits and creepy cool by the time I got there. He had a plan. Brad gave them exactly what they asked for: slow, patient, safe work. Then we were at a crawl. Tasks that would once take 20 to 30 minutes turned into hours. To cut a 6-foot by 6-foot piece of concrete, for instance, it usually took us around 30 minutes. It took 3 hours, courtesy of our new safety-first method. Cody, who drove the excavator, lifted, turned, dropped in slow, painful arcs with frequent stoppages for security. Brad had slowed the skid steer to snail's pace, and all the other machines listened. But there wasn't just one. Brad put up a new policy. If someone stepped through the fenced-in perimeter of cones and tape, we'd shut it down and have a 1-hour safety briefing. John, the same fellow who had whined about our unsafe pace, was the worst offenders. He'd broken the barrier twice in the first day alone, and there were multiple shutdowns. He never did get that far with his squad, paradoxically. Only John kept cheating on himself. The impact was immediate. The work that was supposed to have taken 3 or 4 days went on for 3 weeks. All the time we had to abide by John's safety and pacing instruction. Our team made a joke of this. We even held a bet pool on the number of times John would cross the barrier within a day. The plant director arrived later to explain why the project was taking so long. I told him all about it, John's email, and his continual violation of the safety fence, and the head squeaked. He confessed that he didn't like John, and that the whole thing was frustrating and funny. He also told us John's bonus had to do with completing this project. The head approved that we should speed up and get the job done properly. He even promised us full payment, even if the timeline was long. As it happened, we charged by the hour for each piece of equipment we had at site, and John had asked us to take twice as much as usual. A $45,000 job ballooned into close to $200,000. Eventually, Brad and Cody's choice to listen to John's stupid order had its dividends. As good bosses that they are, they divide the unintended pay with the men. My own company got a $20,000 bonus for doing the slow and steady operation. All the way around, it was a master class in managing tricky clients with patience and a certain sense of self-consciously irony. It's an anecdote we still chuckle over to this day, and an indictment of the force of doing exactly what someone asks for, even if it hurts.